Hey guys, welcome back to another Life Knowledge video. My name is Justin Alphabet. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe down below. Today we're going to be talking about how to make money. Okay, so you guys want to make money, and it's pretty simple, to talk about. I'm going to talk about different types of money and different types of ways to make money specifically. So you're going to want to stick around for this. Stay to the end because that's the best part. So first off, we're going to talk about the three socioeconomic classes that there are, at least in the United States, where I live. We first have the poor, then we have the middle class, then we have the rich. And essentially, the poor people make the largest majority, the middle class make the second largest majority, and the rich make the smallest majority. There are fewer people that are rich than there are, because of various reasons. Lots of statistics about that. We're going to talk about all three different types of ways that people get money in different classes. So first off, we have the poor, which the poor people make their money through employment. They work for somebody else. They are working a job, and that's not a bad way to start, but it's not the best place to be forever, right? You don't want to stay an employee forever. The ultimate goal is to become rich, and I've never seen a rich person who's an employee and works for somebody else. Not a truly rich person or wealthy person. So we have that. You can go out and get a job. A couple ideas as a poor person, and it's okay to be poor at first. Like, don't get down on yourself. It's just a classification. So like, if you have a job, there are a couple different ways to raise your pay. First, ask your boss for a pay raise, increase your productivity, whatever you got to do. Legal, moral, and ethical, obviously. Do legal and moral, ethical things to raise your work ethic, to raise your pay, right? The other option is to quit your job and go out and get another one. I recommend having a job before you quit so that you can transition effectively. Just tell the new job your end date of when you're going to be, placing your 2-week notice or whatever, and tell them that's your start date. And that's fine. Most jobs are okay with that. Just make sure you don't have any gaps in pay. And that's useful. You can also start a side hustle. There are various different side hustles you can start of many different kinds. And that's more of a middle class thing, where you can start we're getting into like the side hustle sort of stuff. So yeah, we're getting into the middle class. Middle class, they have, typically 2 jobs or a very stable, high-paying job after education. Through like a collegiate, university, they make around, $70K plus a year. 50 to 70 to, over 100K per year, but below like 300,000 per year. And that's typically like the typical middle class. They worked jobs where they got certifications, where they got education, where they went to school. They are employees typically, or work for hire, where they're contracted out through I-9s or W-9s, as like a self-contracted worker. So like, they work for themselves, but they are contracted by someone else to work for that business. Taxes are done differently that way, and you can typically get ahead a little bit more through that avenue. You can write off your food, you can write off certain tax advantages through tax things. And this isn't a tax video, but taxes are another way where you can start to make more money. Learning about tax code, and the tax code is written specifically to benefit the rich because they're the ones that wrote it. So it pays to learn the tax code so that you can use the tax code to become rich and use all of the benefits that the wealthy gave to themselves and the rich gave to themselves. And that's not a bad thing. Let's not be mad about that, because someday when you're rich and it benefits you, you're going to be real grateful. All right, so then we get on to side hustles and things like that. A lot of middle class people have a job, and they're also starting a side hustle business on the side where they sell a product or a service in their business. You can create an LLC fairly easily for like $100, depending on your state, to anywhere from $900 to $1,000. You'd have to check your state regulations. The one-time payment is worth it, like unless it's a yearly payment, that's still worth it. If your business is making any kind of money or you're selling anything, it's definitely worth it to start a business. Like, there are a lot of tax advantages because you can write off food, you can write off gas, you can write off stuff, and you get 30% of your money back. So you get tax breaks for stimulating the economy. And that's something that where the government says, like, we see that you're putting out an effort to grow the American economy by selling a product or service. We're going to give you a bonus. And that's good. When you're productive, you get rewarded. Simple as that. You can also start like a dog walking business. There's a lot of things. That's a service. I personally would choose products to sell if you can figure out how to make or have products or things like that, because products are much easier to transfer over to other people, have them sell them for you, and where you can be a business owner, not a business manager. A business manager is still an employee. A business owner is someone who has free time and doesn't have to be at the business 24/7. That's the ultimate goal, where you start to become rich. Rich people typically are rich for 3 different reasons. There may be more than this, but these are the main reasons why most of the rich are rich. It's from investments, business, and real estate. Passive income in general, from all 3. As a business owner, your income is passive because your employees are doing the work for you, so you're not putting your time and effort into the business. And so that means that you have free time to do whatever you need to do as a business owner. And the business runs itself on a system. You pay other people to run your business for you, and so you have more free time, which allows you to be truly rich and wealthy. Then with investments, like we have dividends, which are a return on an investment from a stock. It's like, I would definitely consult a professional on this, but basically you invest in a stock, and whatever returns and on your investment, you get those returns back. I've invested in real estate on Fundrise. I'm not sponsored by them. I just use their app, and I don't recommend it to you unless you've done your research on it. But that's one thing that I do to invest online in real estate. It's kind of a mixture of both investment and real estate, but investments are typically stocks and bonds. Bonds are more secure. Stocks are, a little bit more volatile depending on the route that you choose to go. There's penny stocks, there's, regular stocks, there's all kinds of stocks. You'd have to do your own research on that. And that takes education. That's why most people don't do it, and most people, aren't part of the rich. There's also Forex and day trading and other kinds of things. You can pay other people to invest for you as well. There's the S&P 500, which is basically the 500 best companies in the world on the stock market. Diversifying your stocks is always, and investments in general, and assets, which assets are basically the opposite of liabilities, things that bring money into you versus things that take money away from you. A liability is something that takes money away from you, like a day at Disneyland. Unless you own Disneyland, then you're making money. But if you don't own Disneyland and you're paying for things there, then you're using those on liabilities, like you're giving up those things as liabilities. You're essentially wasting your money on things that don't bring you money back, right? So so assets and liabilities. Investments are always a asset, and you're going to want to make sure that you guys invest in assets only. So other assets would be, like the 3 assets that I would say specifically are business, real estate, and investments. I've talked about investments, I've talked about business. Real estate is the other one. People need a place to live. It's one of the most important things that people have in their lives. Renting out business places as well, commercial real estate, is a great idea. For, like McDonald's, for example. They are one of the biggest real estate companies in the world, which people don't know. People think McDonald's is a food company. They're actually a real estate company. They own the land where you build your McDonald's franchise. They own the building where you have your McDonald's franchise. And then you get to run the McDonald's how they tell you to as their franchise. So basically, because they're so renowned and so worldwide, they're allowed to do whatever they want, and they do reward you handsomely for that, you know, like as a business owner, but you have to do it their way and with their real estate and their real estate regulations. So they make a ton of money on real estate. So then, you know, like with real estate, the ultimate goal is a rental property. Duplex is the best way to go if you're starting out. They cost around like $400K. There are many different types of ways. I personally have my own way, but if you want to, you know, find out my way, you're gonna have to DM me and ask me. It's kind of a secret. So there's Airbnb, you can do that, but duplexes are typically how people go. You know, you rent out one side, you live in the other, and then you have one side pay for both sides of the mortgage, if that makes sense. So let's say your mortgage is $1,000 and you live in one side, you're going to want to charge the people next to you $1,100 or more, right? More than $1,000, so you can pay off the mortgage and have some cash flow afterwards, which means extra money beyond what you have for the mortgage, right? So that's the goal. Eventually you want to put, you know, people in both of them. Some states have different regulations for that. Like my state that I live in, you have to wait 6 months for, you know, to move out of the duplex or something like that to be able to rent it out to someone else. So yeah, just beware of those things. You can also just rent out a regular house and, you know, create the basement into 2 different places, or you can just rent out just a house and cash flow that. You can rent out, you know, as an Airbnb and have it like a hotel style where many people come in, and that takes a little bit more work and effort, but there are lots of companies out there that do the maintenance for you these days. So you can just find whatever one is in your closest city and have them do that for you, rent that out, so you don't have to work as much, and that will create more passive income and cash flow for you. I didn't talk about what passive income is. Passive income is basically where you make money while you sleep, or while you're not currently actively doing a service, or, you know, you're selling a product and you're not working. So like someone else is doing the work for you, if that makes sense. So your time is free, and free time is ultimately the goal in wealth. The most wealthy have the most time on their hands. They typically, good people who are wealthy, you know, use their time for, you know, making more money and doing more good. So that's great. So hopefully you do that too. If you guys have any questions or comments, I can explain this so much more in more depth. I just want to keep the video short so you guys don't get bored. If you want to make more money, comment down below with any questions, and DM me if you want me to coach you and teach you how to make money how I do it. So thank you guys for watching, and have the day you deserve. Let's level up.